So we're not just going to get engaged and then be like, okay, we're just going to be quiet until we're done filming. Like, that's just not how it works.
Well, Scheana, you always look beautiful as always. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you feeling about going into reunion week?
I'm excited. Yeah, we watched part 1 last night and it's so good. I think part 2 is going to be even better. I haven't gotten that far yet, but yeah, it's exciting.
Is there anything that you're nervous about kind of reliving or was there anything nervous that you were really nervous about going into it?
I mean, there were a few things, just obviously having to talk about the secret wedding plan that we had that was so misunderstood. It was like, it was never supposed to be on their property. Like, we had this plan of like, okay, if we could sneak off to a vineyard in Santa Barbara and like split off and everyone does activities and no one would know. And then finding out like, oh no, we're going to film it here. I was like, hell no. So, but just the backlash of that and announcing it at the alpaca farm, even though it was, so all of that. So I haven't seen that part of the reunion yet. I'm like, maybe I'll just watch that live on Wednesday and just react with the fans.
Totally. You're like, I'm just going to fast forward through that.
So yeah, there was that. And I think that was the thing I was maybe most nervous to talk about because I never wanted to upset Raquel. I mean, she's one of my absolute dearest, closest best friends, and I adore her. So watching that back was really hard for me because I just wish it happened differently.
Yeah. I mean, what was the thing that maybe as viewers, we misunderstood the most about that? Like you said, it was supposed to happen at a totally different location and things like that. So how did kind of things unfold the way that they did?
So I think what people don't understand is our job is to tell our story, when we're filming. And we were wrapping 2 days later. I had so many people message me and they're like, why couldn't you wait till next week to tell them? And I'm like, because we weren't filming next week. And they're like, so it had to be on camera? Like, why did you have to have the camera time? I'm like, it's not about camera time. It's about completing my story as much as I could for season 9. So we're not just going to get engaged and then be like, okay, we're just going to be quiet until we're done filming. Like, that's just not how it works. And people thought because when we realized like, oh, this is where it's supposed to happen, that was our plan all along. And I was like, no. If Brock said at the villa they're all staying at in the vineyard, that's where I want to like do a secret wedding, I would have said, no. Like, it wouldn't even have been a consideration. But we just thought we could do it anywhere else. But, with filming, you have to pull permits and with COVID restrictions and all of that. So once we figured out this is how it's going to happen, I was like, absolutely not. But I feel like people don't understand that also. They think we were just trying to bank on James's dime and piggyback. And they're like, you got engaged at their party. I'm like, no, I didn't. If I recall, I got engaged in the privacy of my own home on my balcony. I happened to announce it to my friends at an alpaca farm. I didn't, after Raquel did her toast, stand up and be like, I have something as well. I'm engaged. Like, that would have been the taggiest, classless thing I could have possibly done. I would never consider that. So I'm like, I still don't think that announcing it at an alpaca farm to our closest friends was bad. I'm like, I don't get to share happy news in my life because someone else happened to get engaged and throw a party. So nobody else can have anything else going on. Like, it's an ensemble cast. We're all telling our story. We're all doing our job. We're all making a great TV show. So,
yeah.
It is
Were you kind of shocked by their reaction to your engagement?
Yeah. So also, this is something that looking back on season 6, I realized, because to my face, I felt like Rob always just like loved me. And then I watched it back and I'm like, interesting. That's not how I remembered it. And I felt that way when I watched this moment back, because in the moment, I swore everyone was happy for us. And then I watched it back and it's like, you can hear crickets. Like, it was just like, oh, I guess they weren't happy for us. But also with half the people in this group, that honestly doesn't surprise me.